Hey, welcome to the Be Beautiful podcast, okay, where I encourage you to be you to the fullest. That is what this podcast is all about. This is episode 1. I'm so excited, so nervous, okay? So if you guys see me doing anything weird, listen, if you go to episode 13, 14, and I'm acting completely different, don't judge me. But yeah, I'm really excited. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. So a little bit about me. My name is Erica, spelled Aarika. All right. I like to say it's Erica, just not the basic way. So you guys, online on Instagram, TikTok, my Instagram handle is CEO Erica. That's what I use. That's what I go by. And I am a women's self-development coach. I am also finishing my license to become a therapist. So watch out for me next year. Yeah, I am so excited. So we're going to just get right into it. I want to keep it real. I'm going to keep it all me. Okay. Listen, I'm not somebody here who's trying to be perfect. I'm not somebody here that's trying to be something that I'm not. I am just me. And that is what encouraged me to do this podcast, is because I have lots of friends, lots of people in my life that were just like, listen, you have a voice. We want to hear it. We love your perspective. I love to talk. I love to give advice. I love to take advice. I love to talk about things, all things womanhood, whether it's love, relationships, religion, finances, business. I'm really, really passionate about business because I'm somebody who transitioned from being an employee to a CEO. Okay, shameless plug, all right? And I'll drop the links to that below. But yeah, I teach and coach women on how to just live their best life, how to become the best version of themselves, because I wholeheartedly believe that that's necessary, okay? And so with that being said, today's topic is already spicy, all right? Today's topic is so spicy, y'all. I'm going to be talking about life after breakup. All right. This is so important to me because I got into the mentoring space as a women's coach, women's mentor, because personally, I feel that so many times we as women, we allow for relationships to dictate our life. Like we're so relationship driven. I mean, since we're children, since we're little girls, like we fall out with friends in elementary school over boys, right? Or girls or whatever you're into. But yeah, just relationships, they control and navigate so much of our lives. And I realized when I became an adult, there were so many women that I ran into who I would see them come into work and they're depressed. I would see them come into church and they just look down, and 9 times out of 10, it was over a man. And I just could not take that. I'm like, I have to be an advocate. I have to be a voice. I have to be an outlet, a resource for women to really gain control and really, decenter relationships, right? I'm not a man basher either. I have some very traditional ways and perspectives about me, which you guys will probably learn as we go through this journey. Again, I'm not the typical feminist. I'm not the women. I believe and support all women, but I don't put myself in any of those categories. I like what I like. I am who I am. And I speak my mind. I speak my opinion and unapologetically. I'm never here to offend anyone. So if I do say something to offend you in the future, today on this podcast, I deeply, truly apologize. It is not personal. It's just me being me to the fullest. All right. And with that being said, there are mistakes. There are things that I'm sure I'm going to have to apologize for in the future. But again, I'm not here to be perfect. I'm just here to be myself and encourage you to do the same. Okay. So with that being said, let's get into the topic. So I want to talk about life after breakup because again, I myself went through a breakup, which I'm going to save that for another episode, to deep dive into that when I'm ready, right? But it's been almost about a year since I've been broken up, and I am just realizing like how much of a transition it is to break up and move forward. And a lot of times, again, I talk to people, I mentor women, I counsel women, and life after breakup can be very, very, very taxing. It can really impact and draw on you and make you feel like life is over. But I have found that life is really not over after a breakup, okay? It's no different. Like the way I'm thinking about life after a breakup is no different than, moving to a new state or getting a new job. Like our perspective on that is quite optimistic, right? We're positive. We have all these things to look forward to. We're like, okay, girl, close that chapter, opening a new one, right? But when it comes to a relationship, we don't talk like that. We're like, oh my God, I'm devastated. That was my person. I thought we were going to have this kind of future. While that is absolutely normal to think and feel, what I want to change or what I want to encourage us to do is not get so hung up on the thing or the part that didn't work out, but to look at it with the same optimism that we look at any opportunity or any chapter that's passed. Like this is just a new chapter that I'm embracing, right? For me, I realized that I I trusted God to bring my person and bring my relationship to me. So who am I to tell God that that's it, right? That's the limit. That's the best that God can do. Like, no way, right? If you're telling me, okay, that was a chapter, that was a season, that was something that you needed to grow through so I can make you better for your next thing, then I want that next thing. I don't know if you guys, I'm going to insert the picture. I don't know if you guys seen that picture of Jesus holding the teddy bear behind his back. It was a really big one. And he was asking the little girl to give up the small one because he had a bigger one behind his back. And I really, like, when I think about that concept, it's like, yeah, God wants you to trust him, right? To do what's best for you. And a lot of times, even through this breakup, I realized I probably don't know what's best for me. I probably don't, right? I can only see so far. I only know so much. And what I realized again is that I needed to relinquish control. I was such in a space of I need to be in control of everything. But what if I don't know what's best for me? What if I don't know my type? What if I don't know how far I'm going to go, how much I'm going to do, right? But God does. So if I have that trust and that faith to just let God lead, right? And I know it's easier said than done, but I had to live through it. And now this is something that is not only impacting me and shaping and encouraging me in my love life, but this is something that is impacting me as a woman overall, as a business owner overall, to just put my best foot forward and let God do the rest. That's literally it, right? So I want to jump into some details about this. So I got my girl Erin here. She is working the behind the scenes, y'all. She's going to be featured on one of these topics, so you'll be able to meet her. But she is one of my really, really, really good friends. Yeah, Erin, I just need you to rock with me. Give me some of your questions or some of your points, right, about life after breakup.
I think one of the first things that in just my breakups that I've had, is how to really let go of that emotional pull that you have with somebody, where you're constantly thinking about that person. You're trying to move on, but either good things or bad things are coming into your mind. You're hyper focused over one part of the relationship that was really good versus the reason why you guys actually broke up.
I mean, that's a great question. How do you get past the constant thoughts of your breakup, right? And I believe it's really about shifting your focus. Again, these things sound so easy, but it's what I lived and what I know and what I study, right? So if, to me, like every relationship, and I know you guys could probably agree, I lost focus on something that I had going. And I love this Beyonce quote where she said, stop interrupting my grinding. Right. And that's such a powerful quote, because yes, like sometimes these relationships can interrupt the grind. Like if you look at yourself and say, and really be honest and transparent with yourself and candid and just say, am I where I want to be? That can be in any aspect, physically, mentally, financially, spiritually, any aspect. Am I where I want to be? Right? So when you're having those constant thoughts and you're lamenting over this one thing and this one devastation, and you're allowing it to dictate your mood and control your thoughts and your every movement, right? Listen, you're going to have to give yourself time to heal, right? This is not an overnight process. Healing is a journey. It's not a place that you arrive to. So it's something that you're going to constantly have to work on. And I realize that, I embrace that. However, in the midst of that, right, my recommendation is just to ask yourself, am I where I want to be? Okay. And I'm not the kind of person that likes to sweep my feelings under the rug, but I like to schedule my feelings. Okay. That might sound real logical, real unemotional, but I learn a lot from men, and I move how men move because it works for them, guys. They're not going through what we go through after a breakup. I'm sorry, they're just not. Like, let's be honest, let's be real. They're able to pick up and move forward, learn from them. I don't mean to adopt the toxic ways and, oh, you just get over somebody by getting under a new person, but learn to do what works for you. Okay. And so one of the things that worked for me was to ask myself, what have I been putting off this whole time that I've been in this relationship or been focused on this relationship? It's not blaming the other person. It's taking full accountability and saying, I dropped the ball on myself. And now that I have this free space and this free time, let me use it to do something more productive. Okay. Is my body where I want it to be? Do I need to get back in a good gym? That was the first thing I did when I went through my breakup. I got my butt in the gym. I have never been able to dedicate myself to a routine. And it's, again, it's not because of anybody else, right? He wouldn't stop me from getting in the gym. It's because my priorities were different, right? I'm thinking about how I'm going to serve in the morning. I'm thinking about what breakfast I'm going to make. And did I go grocery shopping last night? And what time does the grocery store open? And how am I going to fit that in before I have to get to work and make this meeting and this and that? But once I got to prioritize myself wholeheartedly and fully, I was able to see, wow, I dropped the ball on a lot of things. I had to create a new routine for myself as a single woman. And I think that's also another thing, right? When we're in our single years, we don't take advantage of it the way that we should. I know that's a whole other topic, but that's some tea right there. We don't take advantage the way that we should. We don't really fully understand the privilege and the opportunity we have when we're single, right? But coming out of an almost 10-year marriage, I can tell you that, it's really not about the person being demanding, but it's about the capacity that you have. The capacity that you have to serve yourself, serve someone else. And if you have children, to also serve them. I mean, it's just part of what comes with marriage. It's part of what comes with a relationship, is that you have to create room and capacity for the other person. So now that I'm back in my single era, I am not I'm no longer sacrificing and leaving myself as not a priority. I'm learning how to be a little selfish. I'm learning how to put myself first, because I think that's going to help promote and push me to be the best version of me, which then allows for me to be a better daughter and a better, future spouse and a better friend, right? I'm able to be here for my friends in ways that I wasn't when I was married. Typically, if somebody needed me, I'm like, hey, girl, let me check the schedule. Got to da-da-da-da. Now I'm just like, yeah, let me see where I can fit that in, because that's the capacity that I have. I know that it's only me that I have to check in with. So different things like that allow for me to stay occupied positively. But guess what? There are those days where I've been productive the whole day from sun up to sundown. But baby, when sun comes down, I'm in that room, I'm crying. I just can't, oh my God, I just cannot believe that I got to be single again. Like, why? Right? Never thought I would be here. But after that, I give myself some time to really feel my feelings. I give myself some time to talk to God and to allow for God to console me like a true parent, and just say, I don't got it. I don't got it right now, but I need to have it by 9:00 in the morning because I got things to do and money to make. Great question. So what's next?
How has your perspective on relationships or love changed?
My girl is getting into the tea. This wasn't supposed to be about me. This is supposed to be about y'all, but that's fine. We are being us to the fullest. How has my perspective on relationships and love changed after a breakup? I haven't thought about it a lot. I've kind of been avoiding that thought, and that's probably a defense mechanism for me. But perspective changing, I was kind of rigid when it came to life and love, right? Oh, it has to go a certain way. I have to meet him and he has to be this type and he has to treat me like this and it has to align with all the little things I see online, and it has to be validated and approved by other people and this and that, right? I've learned to understand that love and relationships are extra. They're in addition to. I don't need it to live. I like it. I love it. I love being in relationships. I've always been in relationships my whole life, but I don't need it to live. And that's a perspective that is new for me, that I will and can be completely fulfilled without a relationship, in it or out of it, So I have definitely realized that it is something that is just in addition to who I am and what I have going on. And to treat it like that, and it's okay to make it a priority, but it's not okay to make it everything.
How can somebody benefit from the lessons or insights that they've learned while being in that relationship?
There's an exercise that I like to do, and it's quite literal, right? So I'll take a piece of paper out and I will write out what it is that I'm going through, whatever trauma, whatever incident that happened, and I will write it down in bullet points on the very left side of my paper. Then the next side of the paper, I will write, what is a lesson that I think God wants me to learn from this situation? Okay. Now, this is not me blaming myself for what I've gone through or blaming myself for what other people have done to me or whatever the case is. It's not me blaming myself, but it is me taking responsibility and accountability for the things that I can do and grow from in the scenario, right? So I don't want to victimize myself. I'm not a victim because I've been through things. I'm a human. So in that regard, I need to take the time to figure out the lesson. What did God want me to learn through this? Whether I was done wrong, whether I was wrong, whatever the case is, I need to figure out the lesson. Okay. And once I figure out the lesson, then I can understand the blessing. And that sounds cliche again, but just take a moment to do it. Take a moment to really do this. This is a therapeutic exercise, y'all, that you can do to really help you to overcome the different things that you've gone through. So when it comes to relationship, it's no different. I need to pinpoint whatever lesson God was showing me through that experience so that I can take that with me and apply it to my future self.
How important is closure for someone who has gone through, all the things when it comes to their breakup and, it was messy, it could have been clean, but like in the grand scheme of things, what does closure mean?
Yeah, so that's a great question. What is closure? How important is closure in a breakup? In my perspective, closure is something you give yourself. Do you ask permission to close a door anywhere else you go? No, you just close it. Once you walk through it, you close it. The problem with closure that a lot of people face is that they're not ready to close. And that's why they're looking for some type of closure. They're looking for permission to end this chapter or to close this door. And that's not how I operate for several reasons. But just to keep it simple, when I decide that I'm moving forward, it's not because it was done on anybody else's time. It wasn't because it was done by anybody else's approval. It's because I myself came to the conclusion that I'm ready to move forward. I waited until I felt confident. Okay. I felt Godfident to move forward in my situation. There were times where people would say, well, if you weren't happy or if this was the case or if you guys were going through things, why did you stay so long or whatever the case is, right? And you may get that question too when you're going through a breakup, but my answer to that is I'm on God's time. That's just it, right? And I'm not trying to make this a super spiritual thing, but I do base and my foundation is in God. My foundation is biblical principles. And I mean that very seriously when I say I was on God's timing, because I believe if I would have done anything prematurely, I wouldn't have the strength. I wouldn't have the capacity. I wouldn't have the confidence. I wouldn't even have the support, right? My friends have been a big, big, big help in my transition from being married to being single, okay, and reestablishing my life. So imagine if I would have done something prematurely or left prematurely and they weren't in a position to help me. I mean, let's just be real. Let's be honest. That could have heavily impacted how I move, right? My happiness, my ability to transition more smoothly, right? So I think that it's important to focus on God's yes, okay, versus the world and how everybody else is going to think of you or who's going to say good job or not good job or you should have done this or should have done that. Don't worry about that. Not even the other person. Don't wait for anybody's permission to walk through that door and close it. You need to do what's best for you because you got other things to do. Like there's more to life than relationships. There's more to life than this chapter and you got to get to it. So the quicker you can accept what's going on and say, you know what, I've received everything that I needed to from the Creator. I've received all the confidence. I've received all the closure, all the confirmation that I need to walk forward and move forward. That's good enough for me. I accept and I'm going to move forward. And that's just how I look at closure.
That leads me to my next question. How can friends and family best support someone in a situation of a breakup?
Yeah. How can friends and family best support somebody who is going through a breakup? Beautiful question. I think that there are different people that play different roles, right? And so this is why when you're in a relationship, it's important to not cut off your support. A lot of times we get into a relationship and life becomes about their relationship, right? Maybe it's the man, maybe it's just y'all, maybe it's just your new life. But then we kind of neglect our friends, we neglect our family, but we do expect them to be there if anything goes left, right? So I think when you're in a relationship, you should absolutely make time for your friends, have girls' night, go visit your family, spend a weekend or a week with your mom and dad or grandparents or nephews, nieces, uncles, cousins, whatever it is. Don't cut off that support when you're in your relationship because you'll always need them. They're a part of you, right? And so that brings me to the point of how can they support you? I believe it's important for you to have a couple different types of support in your circle. All right. Number one, you need the listener. Okay. You need to find the person in your support group that just listens. They're just a great active listener. They're not necessarily there to give you their 2 cents. They're just there to be an ear without judgment. They're just listening to how you feel. They're just giving you that safe space to be open and honest, not just with them, but with yourself. Sometimes it takes you being open and honest vocally so that you can internalize those things and be honest with yourself, right? And sometimes we just don't have that opportunity because we're just in our thoughts, and we know if we tell somebody something or tell the wrong person something, they're just gonna, I told you so, and this is my opinion. And we're not always in the mood for that, right? But when you are in the mood to hear somebody's feedback, that is when you tap in with your advisor. I'll tell you how you can recognize your advisor. You wouldn't mind trading places with them. You wouldn't mind walking in their shoes and living their life. That is the person that you are more likely that you should be taking advice from. Right. And so some people are like, well, this person, but they're not married. I can't take advice from them. I'm a married woman. I don't believe that. Right. Because some of the best advice that I've received is from my single friends. I've been blessed to cultivate friends that are not toxic. Okay. They have always supported me, my relationships, my shenanigans, whatever I got going on. Right. They are always holding me accountable, always telling me like, girl, you the one took it this way. You the one being delusional. You're the one, right? So it's important that you have people in your life, right? Even my mom, who's been married several times. She's a great advisor. She's somebody I call him, hey, I want to get him a gift. What do you think? Like she gives good advice, right? And I think that that's important to have the person in your corner that does give you advice. That might not be the same person that's a good listener, right? But you don't have to have all of these things in one person. The next person I think you should have in your life is the empathizer. And the empathizer is the person who's really good at putting themselves in your shoes. That's the person, not a yes man, but somebody that's like, yeah, I feel you. Ooh, right. And that's different because, you have a lot of people in your life that are going to be like, oh, I would never. Oh, that can never be me. Right? We have enough of those people. So it's good to be able to identify the empathizer, the one who's like, yes, I've been silly before. Ooh, I've been in that position. I've struggled with that or something similar. Or even if I haven't, I understand why that wasn't the right choice at the moment. I'm here for you. I can embrace your thought. I can embrace it. Even if it is different from what I would do, I can embrace it. So I think that having those three type of people, and also the person that can like help you take action. The person that's like, look, girl, we moving out. Cool. I'm coming to help you pack. Like you gotta have a person that's just like, are you in a new job? Cool. I help you with your resume. I sent it over. I typed it into my call. What we need to do, right? You moving here. Cool. I got a room. You know what I mean? You gotta have that person that's about that action. And again, you can have this in one person or you can have this in different people. So those are just different ways I think that your support system can help when they are when you're going through a breakup, right? Because it's enough people that do this. We need some people that do this. We're coming up to the last few minutes of this episode. This is really, really, really great, really exciting. If you haven't already subscribed, liked, commented, share this with somebody who may need it, right? Again, I'm not here to be perfect. I'm not here to judge you. I'm just here to share my truth and be you to the fullest, or be myself to the fullest. So we're about to answer one more question, and then we are going to wrap up this episode, and I will see you guys on the next one.
So last question, outside of the typical self-care activities that men and women think about, getting a massage, getting their hair done, getting their nails done, what are some self-care tips that you feel would be conducive to somebody who is going through a breakup that is more than just spending money?
I think the best self-care that you can do outside of, connecting with God and really having that time like to devote. Like I was a closet warrior. Like I sat in the closet for weeks with God, just talking like, I'm broken, I'm hurt, I don't know what to do. How do I pick myself up? How do I move forward, right? Allow myself to feel those feelings, but also tapping into therapy. That is a beautiful self-care thing. And I know that it's becoming mainstream now. Like people are more open to therapy and understanding the importance of talking to someone with an unbiased opinion, someone who has, your best interest because you paid them. And then just tapping into your personal growth and self-development. So there's an ongoing joke online where it's like, oh, some women go through a breakup and they immediately obtain their master's and doctorates, right? But it's funny. But when you think about it, it's really this person redirecting their energy into something that's going to make them more productive. So that's always a great way to practice self-care, is to focus on your personal growth and self-development. I mean, that's where it's at. Because by the time you look up and realize what you've been doing, you're already occupied. You've already accomplished something. You've already moved towards your goal, right? So surround yourself with people who are elevating. It's okay to be the underdog. It's okay to put yourself back in the student position in life. You got to. You have to humble yourself and go back into learning mode and figure out who this new version of you is. Who is this new person? Who are you becoming, right? And to step into that, dedicate yourself to that, and occupy yourself with being productive so you can get to your next level. I promise those are some things that are going to help you feel better. Those are the things that I did. Those are the things that I teach. And listen, y'all, life is great. All right. It's great. It's good. It's getting there. Even just like me doing this podcast, it's something that I've been sitting on for a while, but through me accepting and growing and feeling and healing, I'm able to put myself in position to accomplish the things that have been near and dear to me. So again, this podcast is more than just, girl talk. It's more than just, me wanting to be known or on a platform. It's really because I'm so passionate about women just overcoming and being okay with making yourself the center, because the more you focus on being the better version of you, the better you can be for the people around you. Okay. So thank you guys for joining me for this first episode of the Be Beautiful podcast. I will see you guys in the next one. Ciao. So you guys are going to see the light transition quite a bit, and that's okay, because we are here at the Be Beautiful podcast, where you are encouraged to be you to the fullest. Okay, we talk all things womanhood, from life to love to laughter to living, right? Yeah.